So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Rich Clark and I've been a hypnotherapist for the last 8 years and a holistic therapist for the last 14 years. So I'm going to talk about the 8 limbs of yoga, carry on, and I'm going to talk about the last yama, which is called Aparigraha. Now, Aparigraha, or if it's actually the way it's pronounced phonetically, if we know in the West, it'd be Aparigraha. That's how we say it, but it's Aparigraha, which is in the Sanskrit. In the Sanskrit, it means freedom from greed, possessiveness, or covetousness, or covetous, which is like to want, the wanting idea. And to define and understand the initial meaning of this Aparigraha is, let's break down its 3 components. The first is graha, which means to reach for, accept, seek, or crave. The second is pari, which means from all sides. And lastly, there's an which is for negation and means non. So when you ever see in Indian language or Sanskrit language, always means non, non-greed, non-this. You know, ahimsa, non-violence, yeah? So combining the 3, the words Aparigraha means not taking more than is needed. So again, when someone asks for food or anything, don't take too much, just take what you need. You know, that's where I think some people get into this very greedy response of where we take too much. Food-wise, we saw that in the pandemic, of people just taking too much food and you didn't need so much. Again, belief in the idea of that when we have stuff, instead of wasting stuff, give things away. If you've got too much clothes, you know, give to charity, or if you can sell it, if you can't sell them, give to charity, help other people who don't have clothes, are in need. Yeah, that's kind of, it's like a form of charity, really. So, with all this, combining the 3, the word Aparigraha means not taking more than is needed, practicing non-acceptance, so including gifts, and non-accumulation, which practice can develop an attitude of detachment or non-dependence, trust, and self-reliance. So this is something I think even with ourselves, when I move, you always get rid of stuff because you realise you don't need so much. One of my biggest habits I've got is books, and I've cut that down over time. So I try and practice Aparigraha a lot. It's not easy though, especially in the Western world, because we've had this lack when we were growing up poor, and then when we got money we want to get things which we never had as children. It's quite a bad habit. You see it a lot in the West. So the benefits of practicing Aparigraha is access to the higher knowledge of life. So this higher knowledge of life is being established in non-accumulation, give knowledge of how births happen. When the yogi has no desires to have possessions, they free themselves from the material world. This gives them a perspective of the purpose of their birth, they're both in their life and in past ones. Now, pastliferegresssion, if you ever want to learn that, I do them sessions, is you can actually go and look at your past reincarnations of who you are. And that also helps, once you do pastliferegresssion, it helps you give you more purpose of who you are in this life. So this purpose and perspective gives you comprehension of the law of karma and understands what lessons remain to be learned before attaining realization or moksha or mukti. Attachment and this anxiety which accompanies attachment are obstacles to knowledge. So the idea of actually anxiety is sometimes that we're so anxious of what could happen or what doesn't happen, or that we've got a lot and then we're worried that we won't have anything. So that anxiety then plays on us. So the one thing is in this freedom from attachment will result in knowledge of the whole course of who you are in your journey. So who was I? How was I? What is this? What shall I be? How shall I be? And this shape comes to them in the knowledge of their own experience in the past, present and future. Now in the future part, I also do this, future life progression, where I actually help people see the year ahead, 6 months ahead, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years to 10 years. Very useful for people who actually want to leave a job or want to do some difference in their career. Very useful. So this is all part of my art program. So you kind of do the past, I do it in the present format, then their actual of what their life is in the past, what's happened in their life in their present format of reincarnation, and then in their present, and then in the future seeing that. So Aparigraha helps a lot with that, to understand that. Self-reliance. So self-reliance is non-accumulation, non-attachment, can simply mean that you don't depend on someone or something external for your own happiness and stability. Now this is very common in people. Everybody thinks that if I get in the right relationship, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be contented. Or if I get more money, I'm contented. But the actual happiness has to happen within yourself, and that's the inner light of yourself, is understanding connection to yourself and the love for yourself. Giving love to others and expecting that love back is actually futile. in a lot of respects. You have to have enough love for yourself that people know that you love yourself enough, the person will love themselves enough, and then that love combined would then help you. So one thing about when you're looking at self-reliance is this, and a good quote: when I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. When I let go of who I am, I receive what I need. And this quote is by Lao Tzu, which explains, it's very much a Buddhist idea, or Tao Buddhism, but again, that is where it's derived from the Indian culture when they left India and then created Buddhism. So it's again very much this idea of detachment. So the big thing here is, like they say here, the yogi feels the collection or hoarding of things implies a lack of faith in God and in themselves to provide for the future. So you will find that some yogis who my yogi teacher has this, is that he feels that he likes things, he likes collecting things, and it's actually really, it's a negative actually for yogis. Yogi is supposed to be quite livingminimal, but again, I think that's a lot of it is things interest people, and I think it's also quite childlike because you like to see things have meaning, but do they have a long-term use? That's always a thing to look at. So the idea of Aparigraha is that the idea is to make your life simple and trains the mind not to feel loss or the lack of anything. And also the loss of people is also good for Aparigraha, is that actually accept that when they have gone, that you love the things they've done in the past, and that actually you appreciate what they've done for you, but then know that in the physical plane they're not here, but in the spiritual plane they are. So it's very useful. Another one is the great enjoyment of life. So paying attention to how much we take and how much we hold on to can inspire a lot of change in our tendency of hoarding. And if we free our space, the outer as well as the inner, allowing energy to move easily and freely, then we create space for whatever the universe has to offer. An understanding of impermanence means that if you realise that all things change, there is nothing you will try to hold on to. And that is the importance of impermanence. Sink in, is the easier, balanced and happy our lives will be. Now, Aparigraha, there's bits I'm very good with people. If people do me wrong, whatever, I can get rid of. Belongings is a little bit harder for me to get rid of, but I do it every so often. So I'm getting better, and I think as time will go on, I live in a small space at the moment, but if I had a house, this would definitely fill a house worth of stuff. There's just certain things I like, things I see, things I like to look at things quite cleanly, but again, I've got a lot of stuff where, again, I know I have to improve on that. So again, I'm not perfect, no humans are, we all have to learn this, but again, over time, we get better. Unconditional love. Now, unconditional love teaches you to not create an attachment for anybody, including your loved ones. This is sometimes a bit debatable, because it's like the idea if you're not attached to anybody, meaning that you could be with anybody you want, and that you're not belonging to someone, which kind of goes against the idea of matrimony and monogamous relationships and so forth. But this sense of non-attachment helps you to have a sense of belonging to everyone without becoming possessive, jealous or codependent. Now, codependency is an issue for a lot of people, especially when we're working in hypnotherapy. People are codependent in their relationships, they're codependent with their friends, they're codependent in their work. It's they believe all that way works for them, and it doesn't. And the idea is sometimes that when you work in jobs, people think that the company treats them well. They don't. Companies are about business. So in the end, if they feel that they've got to get rid of you to make their business work, they will. They won't care about you as a person. So that you have to get into that idea. And it's very hard for people, this idea of letting go and living life with your open mind, open palms, open heart. And this is also how we also get away from non-judgment as well. Because the idea of it is all concepts, people exist, and people have their own dependency, they have their own lives. So the idea if people don't care about you, don't concern about it. The idea is you should be just like, people do what they have to do, it's their path. And you can only help them when they want you to help them with hypnotherapy or therapy if they want to do it. You cannot force people to do it. You try and force people to do anything, they just won't do it. They do it begrudgingly. It doesn't work. So, Aparigraha on the mat, when you're doing yoga or whatever, how do we do that? Well, it's within our breath. And we begin to learn this, that in the asana practice, but I would say Aparigraha is really the good thing about letting go of things, is you do this through meditation or breath work. So, what I would say is when you're doing breath work is the idea of when you breathe in, you're breathing in new energy, and then the out is breathing all the toxic energy for all the rubbish you're holding on to in your body, in your mind, in your face, in your arms, in your hands. That to me is really useful. And I think that's why people should do breath work more than anything. It's one of the things, if I don't do exercise, my one thing is I always do at least 10 to 20 minutes worth of breath work in the morning, in the afternoon and in the evening before I go to bed. Very useful. Another way as well about incorporating aparigraha or aparigraha is to downsize, declutter and practice minimalism. Very difficult for people in the West, but again, it's useful to what you need to do. So I'm going to be doing the fear of getting rid of belongings on Friday, and this is actually very linked to this. So this is a couple of things to look at. Be clear on your wants and how they differ from your needs. So what you want is different from what you actually need. Become aware of discontentment and bottomless wishing. Oh, I wish to be this, I want that. No. Try and have a clear goal, clear vision of what you want and what you need. You know, if you're a person on your own, do you need a 7-bedroom house? No. This is why I think it's very interesting when a lot of people get money, they want a big house. But you've got to be able to maintain it. It's actually better to have but to me, this is how I look at something. If you want a house, instead of having a big house, why don't you have little places and different places like around the world and then use them instead of having a massive house? And then you can use them and utilise that, and people then can rent them, whatever. That to me that's a perfect aparigraha. Very much a good concept of that. Be careful of your own desires, as they can lead you to a vicious cycle of wanting more and more. Instead, try to remain in the here and now. Be watchful of accumulating just for the sake of having. Appreciate and cherish what you have. Let go of the fear of losing it. Move to smaller, more comfortable homes. Keep your room spacious by having minimal furniture. Again, like I said, this is something I need to work on myself. Do not cling to things too tightly. Give away or toss out things you do not need or need anymore. And be balanced and judicious in what much you take, use and keep. So again, just because you get something offered to you, don't always take it. Just like your physical space, take some time to declutter your mind. And that you can do with breath work. I explained about that, about the different ideas of nostril breathing and so forth. I've explained that a couple of times this week about how to help with controlling anxiety and also how to improve your positive mindset. Let go of any ideas, concept, patterns that are no longer serving you. Don't allow praise and compliments to hold space in your head. Don't allow hurts and insults to hold space in your heart either. So when people compliment you, just say, okay, thank you, but that's okay, I just do what I do. Same as if people are hurtful, don't take it personally. I mean, if I'll be honest with you, I get a lot on YouTube and a lot of people, they're quite insulting sometimes. I just look at it and go, very funny. I usually respond, I don't even respond, just think, okay, delete it, whatever. It doesn't mean anything. It's just people's own hurt, and they're just trying to put it on you, and you don't need it, and it's not worth it. So they're not going to be your client, they're not going to be your friend, they're not going to be your family, and they certainly ain't going to be helping you. So just ignore it and just think, okay, that's their problem. And sometimes it's actually best to leave it out there, because people can read it and go, cool, what? God, that guy's a bit mad, or that person's a bit strange. It's usually from men, actually, I get it. Don't cling onto your name, reputation, or identity. Again, about your honour, this is about. And then be present rather than living in your regrets about the past or your dreams of the future. Be in the now. Share with gratitude. Always, when gifting, the giver is always thankful. When the receiver accepts the gift, he or she may take the gift, but it's also taking away your mind's attachment to it. So when you give something or you help someone, don't expect something back. And if you do, then you're not doing it with gratitude. You're doing it to receive status, or it's about your ego. So that's fine, your ego. That's not how it works. Forgive and let go. So aparigraha is about how you notice onto memories, prejudices, past hurts, events and people. And these attachments keep you from experiencing simplicity and joy. So remember that this inspires forgiveness and letting go and brings so much healing. And even when you, like I said, if you've got issues with people letting go, write down on a piece of paper and keep burning the paper until then you don't think about it when you're writing it down, because it won't come out, because it will be gone out of your body. Yeah. Prioritize self-care. So self-care is about how you cling on to, control those who are closest to you, people who are around you. Again, remember, it's always about yourself, how you feel. Yeah, and it's not selfish, it's selflessness. That's what it is. So it's about you loving and centering yourself so you feel independent, strong in your own being, so you don't need other people. Share and give away your rights too. So again, those who fight for their rights are weak, for they do not know their inner strength. So again, when you come up with ideas, people will sometimes share their ideas and won't give you credit. don't worry about it. It's the idea is this is where an issue is as well. That's why actually being a teacher, you give a lot of ideas away and you never always get the appreciation or, people say, oh, thank you. You do it because you want to do it. You feel that in passing knowledge, it helps people. And that's one of the things. I have a lot of people who I know who I give a lot of knowledge to help with in different ways. And I never think about it. As much as I do all my work as a hypnotherapist, there's a lot of work I do for free, a lot of advice I give away free, and I don't think about it. I don't think, and that's why when people say, oh, why don't you do your work for free? It's like, actually, when I hit in my hypnotherapy work, that is my way of helping more. So the more actually I get clients who pay for my work, that means I have more time to help others who actually don't have the money and need my help. So this idea of when people say, oh, holistic stuff should be free, it's not true. The idea is you should be actually that you make sure that you're helped enough to make sure you have a decent standard of living so you can live, and then the people you can help on pro bono of helping others who don't have that. And that can be things like helping people who are homeless or helping people who need your help. And again, they've got to want to change. That's the thing. If people don't want to change, you can't help them. You can meet in the middle, but they've got to want to change. And if they don't want to change, you've got to leave them to their own path. If they want to change, they come more to the middle, then you can help them go to there. So it's very important. I think people need to get that right. So anyway, hope that's enjoyable, and you can watch all the other previous yamas I've spoken about. And as of next week, I'll be speaking about the knee yamas. So until then, speak to you soon. Bye.